I have a brief amount of time I can live stream. Just you ever have one of those moments or situations where you go, am I like in a crib or a bassinet and my brain has to make up a reason that you want to scream? Yeah, just that's how people get disassociated because it's like basically what they call like the horrors of war when you have to experience and live through something that's so shocking and nauseating and disgusting that it feels like it's not real. That's how I would describe the past hour. Just apparently they have a thing out here where they have all this stuff that if you have housing, you can go and just take whatever you want for free, maybe leave $1 or something, and you just walk around watching people looking at the stuff. I have no use for any of it because you refuse to give me housing. So it's like the ultimate in displaying like complete grotesque insanity, in my opinion. Just okay. Yeah, it's like that's why when I talk about certain behaviors and things, I call it profuse, sort of like um derangement. It's like a desperation and a psychopathy gone profuse, gone to the ultimate degree. Right, like where you grow a hatred for the people that you're victimizing. And then it just because of being primates and stuff, it just becomes like this horrifying, I call it grotesque. There's nothing, no other way to describe it. There's no other way to describe it. Where now it's like we've done something bad or something like it can't stop sort of like um gluttony to the nth degree. Right, just I guess it's better than clearing store shelves, but you just go, okay, so you're admitting now as a population that you purposely have hostages here that you refuse to give housing to. And now you're actually just like trying to flood yourselves with everything and anything you can think of because you have housing and we don't. Okay. Um, yeah, just everything and anything a person could ever possibly think they needed in a house, like right down to just like fancy dishes and bread makers and everything you would have to have housing to actually have a need for. So to me, that's an admittance as a population that you're doing it purposely. We know you're doing it purposely. Okay, so I remember I was told when Tom Kent was on his deathbed that he kept talking about money and he has all kinds of money and stuff. So it's sort of, I kind of put it in that category. That's why thermonuclear weapons are being used. Right. I explained it after 2020. whatever goes on in the brain matter in terms of, I don't know if they think we're being punished because we're against a monetary system. So we're being punished by they're still trying to display that they're freeing themselves. And we are stuck on the ground outside with nothing. Yeah, it's just psychopathy unbound. And it's just, that's all I can say. It isn't really like even an anger, but it's like I don't need to know that this is going on. Like they want me to know about it. Yeah, just all this we have that you can't have. Okay. Never in my life when I owned a house, by the way, did I have all that stuff. Just as an FYI. Yeah, when you just go, okay. It wouldn't matter how much stuff people were given, they just want to keep displaying it to people that are destitute and forced to sleep on the ground outside. It's like the apartment thing. It's just more like that. Yeah, like I guess for some reason there's still sort of like a clinging to. I don't know. I don't know if that's people that are not focusing on their families or what is going on, but you just people that want social security so they can live camp year round don't care about those material items anyways, right? But it's just part of like purposely taking my children, purposely taking my house, not allowing me to cook, all of it. And then here's dishes and this and that and that and this and like you like briefly go into like a disassociation, like it feels like that weird, like when you're in a car accident or something, that weird like PTS, not PTSD, but just that weird like shock to the psyche, shock to the brain. What am I actually experiencing? What am I looking at? What is this? That's why I said years ago when certain things would happen, you go, am I in utero? Am I like in a bassinet? And just biologically, you that screaming and stuff, and your blood pressure goes up, and so the brain, like I'm in a dream state, and there has to be some. You know how when you're having a dream, and like a music is playing, and it goes into your dream to explain what your ears are hearing, and it becomes incorporated into the dream until you wake up. It's like that. You're existing, experiencing, living through just a horrifying experience, right? Not you're in God says to me that it's, that doesn't go on. You're in like a blissful dream. You're not in this. Yeah, this is just quote unquote the end times. Um, right, just even the conversation afterwards talking about frogs. I'm sure the person doesn't know what she's saying. That's God talking. Frogs have to do with the nuclear material. That's what frogs are. And flies are the free electrons. Right, like from what I can tell, I'm not saying these people in particular, but from what I can tell as a population, it becomes some made up thing because we're not their species, right? It wouldn't matter what I did or didn't do or said. I'm telling you right now, I could do all the things that they think that they do that makes them part of a community, and I'd still be rejected from it. because I'm a different species. It has nothing to do with any of that, right? But that's some of the verbiage is that you can tell that their brains are still trying to figure out what's going on. Like, we are not agreeing to outreach. We're not agreeing to being part of the community. We don't help people. We don't give people things. We don't share things. We're not being somebody's caretaker. Like all the stuff that people have interviewed them over the years to find out what is going on. What do they think is going on? What's with all these people that you won't give housing to and stuff? And those are the types of things that their brains are making up when none of it's true. Why are you getting all these things while a small population of people's being frozen to death outside? So their brains have to sort of make up a thing of why that's going on. Anyways, made it through that, walked around maybe 10 minutes and left. It's completely not my thing. Gave them $1.
Did you give him $1 and change?
Yeah, that's all I had. All I had was change. I don't have money.
She needs money, dude.
Rather than me going in and taking something, because clearly the monstrosity of this is all this is a giveaway to people in housing. Okay, here, take $1. I'll do your raffle. Take my dollar and quarters. Have at it. I mean, really? That's all a person can do in that situation, and I'm sure they don't get it in their heads what just happened. Here you go. No, rather than that, rather than I go in and I pay what I think something's worth, I'll give you money. How's that? Take 4 quarters, please do. That's why they were ordered to print you people more money. That's exactly what I do. Just like Phil, a $10 poster. How about $250 worth of $10 posters? Here you go. Back to the gutter. Oh, believe me, if I had more money, it would have been given more money, just like my friend Barbara Hunton did with her whatever husbands. What's it? No, here's $2 million. Crawl back to the gutter. Right, the MBTA got mad at us because they get all kinds of money, and then started spitting back cash at the pay thing. Go and take your money. That's a message for you, not me. There'll be mockers in the last days. Right, I'm not the one getting $850 million in funding from the state. You take your money. I don't know where they got all that stuff from. Right, you just go. I don't know if people passed away, whatever. Just probably a donation bin, like all my stuff, like a $2,500 Louis Vuitton bags that I bought in the shops. I'm sure that didn't end up in any thrift store. Take it all. I put it all in a donation bin. Bloop. Dresses, shoes, multitude of handbags. Me being a Rockefeller, not. I had just started being able to put things on my wall. Just I only had it's already been 15 years, okay? I only lived in a house from 1999 to 2010. Right, the very big you got to take a year out for when I was forced to live with my friend in the condo. Okay, so add it up when you think everybody's in a lesson and stuff, and you go, and I never had all that stuff in my house. I never had fancy dishes. We went to like one of those tent sales and bought dishes. This, oh yeah, just full sets of dishes, and we're talking fancy stuff. What am I going to do with that? Carry it to a storage unit? You've already announced you're never giving me housing, ha ha ha. So so worse than the videos we've seen about Nazi Germany, where they took all the quote unquote Jews items and sold them and gave them away to themselves after ranshacking your house. That is why you can't shut it down. Is it just ringing in your heads now? You ended your own existence. Okay. Right. Like even a room in a rooming house you forced me out of, and then you literally thought you were going to do like some of the things you're doing now. That's literally what you people tried to do. So it's never being shut down. You'll never see a government shut down. You'll never see fuel shut down, any of that. You're just passing away. And then the remaining people will be living on planet Earth without any of that. Because that's everybody recognized what you were doing at that point. You weren't doing a transition plan. No, it was like straight out animals where you're gonna refuse to give us housing and then make everything else free except probably the food. And then you try to force those people into other people's housing. It's not the first time that an insane population has tried to do that. That's how you end up with people in towers, people in basements, um, complete servitude to other people, people forced into marriages, having children they don't want with a person. That's how it's done. So that's why you're not being allowed to do it. Right. And that's why we're not forced to go into what you're calling a shelter and sit in a chair. We're not forced to go into other people's housing. You don't have a military or a police force to force us to do that because they're not as deranged as you folks are. That's why. You're keeping a police force, you're keeping a military, you're keeping US courts, you're keeping US laws. We have warming centers. Hopefully, we'll have more warming centers in the winter and less of these shelters. There's no need for them. There's no need for them. They don't give out housing and they're just taking governmental money. I'm sure that's probably already going on. All of that money that was being funneled into these shelters is going to be given to sane people that just run a warming center in the wintertime, just like they do out west. There is not a need for those types of shelters here. People don't need to go to your module classes and all of that. Nope. And then go to Roadway, which looks like Bellevue Hospital, to be a prisoner in there of yours. We don't need that here in the United States of America at all. If you have board certified psychiatrists that can run a mental institution and you have a need for people to live in a mental institution like that or prisons, then those will be built and funded. Not people with high school diplomas and GEDs and a certificate in sociology, maybe, are going to run these shelters like that. And you just store people in them. and force them to go through these modules and classes, and then maybe end up at a Bellevue. Just the government will build a Bellevue and hire board certified doctors to run it. We get housing through HUD. It's the United States of America. We don't get housing through a shelter. I definitely foresee all of that coming to an end. So prepare yourselves. If you live in one of those shelters, just know all of that is coming to an end. There is not going to be a homeless shelter in the state of Massachusetts. You'll have just like they do out west, because they already went through this and they know what it is and got rid of it. You'll have a warming center that opens in the winter and public showers. In the summertime, you can pay to camp or just sleep outside. They're already been giving money to churches and stuff that give out food. Not you need to be in a shelter to get fed. And most of that food is slop and you know it, and the portion sizes are too small. Right, because those people don't control your lives. They just hand you a sandwich. That's all you need. Right. If you want to have a thing, like I said, that's run by board certified doctors that have degrees in psychology and psychiatric nurses, okay? Because if you have a group of people that absolutely refuse to live on their own, then they can live in something like that. But it's not run by Father Bill's place. They already have programs where people come and give you food. Yes, or you can go to a place that gives out food, just like we do. They may have to add a couple because it's Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Fridays you get a meal. There's a van that drives around and gives food. Right. They don't have any of that in Quincy because they have that shelter that has to be shut down. Then maybe they will have to force to have that in Quincy. If they get rid of that shelter, they will have to provide the same types of services they do in Cambridge. They do it in Albuquerque too because there is no shelter. The last thing on earth you want is a shelter in your city. You don't want that. They are making those people sicker and more dependent on them, and they all have Stockholm syndrome. Who stays in a shelter and sits up in a chair like that until they faint and pass out? Just that's help. Closing the thing, opening a warming center. No more social workers. You've got to have a medical degree, a degree in psychology, a nursing degree with minors in psychology. No more social workers. No more case managers, none of that. No more making connections in the community. Clearly, some people do have a reason to be sleeping outside and living at campgrounds. They clearly do, because you have an invading population of people that have progressive brain disease and they're turning into literal animals. That's why you do have a reason why some people that are physically and mentally able to survive live outside. It's like I said, a person has a brain injury, he's married, his wife is not mentally incompetent, she has a medical condition. He doesn't need a rooming house for people with brain injury. He needs Social Security, and so do I. And we go camping like we just did all last summer because you're insane and you're clearly never giving us housing. Yeah, like it was reminiscent of 2020, what I just experienced. It's just a more controlled version of it, and you watch it like a film, right? Just people out at the library pooping at a tree, and these people don't pay utilities, they don't pay rent, they're getting money flooded to them, extra SNAP, in a free bus.
Oh, these are not good.
I don't like those kind of things. Are they too old? Especially if they get soggy.
They say they're good till 2026, but they're strawberry.
Just a reminder, I came back from Albuquerque because they threatened to shut my food off. The state of Massachusetts, but it's a bunch of crap. It's clearly both states. They have a progressive brain disease and they're insane. SNAP is a federal program or a state program. You can't give me SNAP for New Mexico unless Massachusetts closes my account when it's up for renewal and isn't being loaded anyway. Okay. Well, thermonuclear weapons solves that problem. Right. They have people that go out, they give out clothing, they cook food, they hand it to you. You don't have to take their modules. People sleep outside all over the place, and they open up a shelter in the winter because of the cold months. That's it. I'm sure it's a warming center. When you can't just do like Alex does at the warming center, you're too mentally ill to quote unquote help the homeless. Right. Here's a mat. Clearly, you can't like take your clothes off, pee on the floor, fight with people, light up a cigarette, but they're not there to teach you anything. You don't have all these requirements you have to do, but to show up, stand in line like a calm person, wait to get in, have a sandwich, lay down, go to sleep, be quiet, get up, have a cup of coffee, leave. Down when they're me talking. It only happens from here, so I know they're running a program or something on my phone that burns the battery down.
The river outside is blue, and snow last all day. Happy old faithful day. Alcohol, alcohol.
Honestly, like if you were honestly asking why you keep having this thought in your head about shutting stuff down, I'd say it has to do with your system shutting down, your bodily system shutting down. Okay, you're not shutting down a government. You're not shutting down a government, and you're not shutting off fossil fuel burning. You're not changing the United States of America into a jungle, into socialism, into communism, none of that going on. You've been told repeatedly you're not doing that. Any and all opportunities to negotiate are long since over. You were also told that. You need to listen to your president, your leader, and stop acting like he's a joke. That's the president of your country that you live under. Okay? He runs the executive force. That is your law enforcement. Right? The legislative branch does not supersede your military. You can sue your commander-in-chief as much as you want. It's an impossibility, and you didn't follow your transition plan. So it's an impossibility through your entire land piece. You were never going to shut down this area anyway. It was supposed to be the phase out area. Now your whole land piece is. Bravo, that's what you want. People in the legislative branch don't carry firearms, by the way. That's your executive branch. Right. I explained to you exactly how your system functions, whether you like it or not. You get to play all that where you make up a new bill and you go to your Congress and you go to law, you go to courts and stuff, but that's not in actuality who lays down the law here. That's your executive branch. And you were told repeatedly certain boundaries not to cross. You went over the red line at least by 2020. Long since over. Enough with the shutdowns. As you were told, you will be given more money to pay bills. And I explained to you last night or early this morning how it's in the Holy Bible. Your Jesus himself told you in the Holy Bible, take the money and buy the things. Okay, vouchers for utilities and stuff. Take the money and pay your utilities. It doesn't matter how many times you bill Mary Buchanan for a non-existent electric bill. You already have a program called Fuel Assistance. Go to that. As I stated, we already have a system that gives out housing. It's no longer being put in the hands of people running shelters. So expect them not to even have these rooming houses to give you anymore. It's called HUD. Well, at least the sun is warm. My shoulder actually feels a little bit better now. Yeah, if you're looking at college, maybe plan to work for HUD and not be a case manager. Psychiatric nurses, doctors, people that work for HUD, people that work for the DTA office, people that work for Social Security. Maybe even become a administrative law judge so you can help put an end to the madness. The greenies love this. The greenies are not against this. Maybe talk to a greenie. Talk to someone from, what is it, the Red Green Alliance. Some of those people don't even care if they get extincted because they care about other species and they care about the environment. Yeah, I like this Red Green Alliance, especially since those are Christmas colors. I'm completely against communism as you define it and socialism. I don't like anything European. That's why I made a comment about the woman at the sneaker store trying to haggle. We don't do that in the United States of America. We have set prices. You can tip. Things go on sale. They have a sale price on them. They have a clearance price. Not we haggle. We don't put furniture on the sidewalk and take up pedestrian walkways. This isn't Europe. This is the United States of America. And COVID is over. We don't outside dine in the United States of America. No. That's called the picnic. You go to a barbecue for that. Oh, there's the other glove. Right, it's not the Grand Bazaar. Nope.
She's such an awkward woman.
Hi, do you need help? I know. I said to Brian,